This is the White Balance. That's Jordan Rapp. We're at a coffee shop, and Jordan's going to tell us about. There you go. Jordan's going to tell us about his upcoming race plans and just thoughts on Ironman training. So, Jordan, welcome to our cafe, and tell us what race you're up to.
I am getting ready for Ironman Arizona, the first Ironman Arizona. They actually have two of them this year. They're changing the date, but I'm doing the one on April 13th. So I'm about a little over 4 weeks out from the race.
And how's the prep gone so far?
It's gone really well. I did a really hard threshold focus block in California in February, and then I came to Flagstaff to do more of the sort of Ironman specific stuff.
And so being an early season race, it's an April Ironman. Often Ironmans are in June or Hawaii's in October. How does that affect the training and your race prep?
I think the training is pretty much the same. I think you just have to be more honest with yourself about where you are in terms of pace. I think that's probably one of the big mistakes that you get into with long course racing is, people all had nutrition problems or had this kind of problem. That generally I think a lot of those problems are related to pace. You go harder and you think that you're in summer shape when it's, really early in the year and maybe you're not quite as fit. And I think you just have to be honest with yourself about what your pace actually should be, and I think you'll probably be okay.
Do you use your SRM during the race then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did a whole lot of work, and then I'm going to try and err on the side of caution, and hopefully when I come back down to sea level, I'll do maybe a benchmark workout, and then hopefully come up with a sort of last final number that I'll set as kind of my goal. And I think I'm probably in better shape than I was last year, so my goal is to basically hold about the same watts that I did at Ironman Canada last year, and hopefully that was...
What kind of wattage was that?
It was 280 average and 290 normalized power for the ride.
Do you give us a little quick on what's normalized power?
So normalized power basically accounts for the fact that you go a little bit harder up hills and that you don't pedal downhill. Or you can't put as much power on going downhill, so it sort of accounts for the natural variance in topography of courses.
So at Ironman Canada, you were sitting at about 280.
Yeah, so if basically normalized power is a more accurate reflection of if you were just to sort of look at someone's SRM at any given moment, what you would see.
Oh, I see.
So if you were to sort of look down at my SRM, you probably would have seen about 290 most times. But there's some real long descents there that drop your average down.
So I guess my next question is, are we going to see 440 watts average at Ironman Arizona, or how's your prep gone?
I think it's gone well. I think I got my threshold back up. I mean, I train with a lot of ITU guys, so we really do a lot of high intensity stuff. So it's, I did only 3 weeks of that versus a full summer of that. So I don't know that it's, I necessarily have that same top end right now. But I think it's pretty close. I had some really good workouts that gave me a lot of confidence. But I think I'm going to try and sort of stick to my same plan of kind of trying to build on it. And people tend to fade later in the race, so if you can kind of ride stronger when everyone else is riding slower, you can really make up a lot of time. So Arizona is 3 loops, so I'll basically just sort of ride each 60K loop and kind of try and bump up the wattage, so maybe like 280, 290, 300 per loop.
So very careful not to go out too fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get calories in early on.
I guess that leads us to my next question was, what's your Ironman philosophy? I know that's a very general term. What's your Ironman religion? But you can elaborate on that.
I think that people overthink it a little bit. I mean, it seems that there's pretty clear that nobody rides the bike at more than 80% of their threshold power. So you just have to sort of know what your threshold power is, and then kind of ride somewhere in between 75 and 80% of that. I'd rather have my threshold power be higher and ride at a lower percentage, so you don't have to kind of be quite so careful about nailing it. And I think that allows a lot of other things to fall into line. I'd never done Ironman before last time, but I was pretty careful about sticking those numbers, and I was able to get in about 450 calories an hour on the bike, and get everything that I needed to do in. I think because I sort of stuck to a numbers game plan, and I think you have to realize it is such a long day that it's not like racing an ITU race or a non-drafting or even Olympic distance drafting race where if somebody is going to pass you, they're probably going to pass you, and if you pass someone, you probably pass them. At least for that section.
Yeah.
I mean, some guy might come back and get you on the run, but generally, people's paces, if they're a successful athlete, is pretty well dictated in a race that's not Hawaii, where it seems to be kind of to take a bit more of a risk.
So how does that affect your training philosophy then? It seems to be very different than other Ironman athletes with the typical kind of Lone Ranger solo training. You seem to do a lot of short course training.
Yeah, I think that people sort of overthink. I mean, if you're fit, you're fit, right? I think that people would be astounded as to how well a lot of the guys that don't race Ironman would do with, just a little bit of kind of time on their legs, which is certainly a factor, right? You need to sort of just know that you can go out and run 2.5 hours, but I think that, I think Simon Whitfield would go out and would run a pretty darn fast marathon. I think Javier Gomez would be really just very strong, and I think any ITU athlete, if you gave them some mileage, just that fitness and talent takes you a long way. And I think that people, if I'm racing for 8 hours, I have to ride for 8 hours. And I think that fitness is more general than that. I think that Ironman athletes tend to not swim enough, and they go out and they ride their bike so much. But if you're fit for swimming, it's not like as soon as you get out of the pool that you're sort of useless at everything else. You saw Andy Potts has really done an incredible job even in long course racing, and I think that obviously has a massive aerobic engine, and that's all from swimming. I mean, and now he's done the triathlon training, but I think that just being fit is a huge advantage, and I think people they tend to sort of overthink things. I think sort of keep it simple, right? Swim a lot and swim hard. Ride a lot and ride hard, and run a lot and run hard. I think, and that'll get you.
So you've done some unusual sessions going into Ironman in compared to the conventional. I think last Saturday you did the group ride with a lot of sprints and attacks, and then went out and finished off with another with the group ride again. Is that right?
Yeah. So the group ride that we do pretty regularly is about 100K, and so I did it on my road bike with a group of about 30 people, and then we probably had about 15 or so, probably about half our training squad and then half this local team called Ride Clean. And it's a typical group ride, guys doing the echelon and making jumps and chasing guys down. And so I did that, and that's a lot of fun. And then I went home and refueled, took a nap, and I took my time trial bike out and did the same loop again. Only that time I tried to just kind of ride steady, and I finished off with an hour at Ironman goal power.
It's nice and windy out there too.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a pretty popular place that some people come for Hawaii early on because it's at altitude, and it's a real long stretch of kind of rolling road that I guess is like the Queen K. And
except you got snowed on, didn't you?
Yeah, I did get snowed on a little bit in 2 sections.
Yeah.
I've done that road where I was like, I think that's a little bit of fog up there, and it was actually a blizzard. But this time it was just some light flurries. But
and then I think you went to the track on Thursday and you did a bunch of 200s on the track.
Yeah, so
for your third run of the day.
Yeah, so I try and get my long run days in 2.5 hours of running, but it doesn't really matter to me or to the coach if we break it up into like an hour and a half in the morning or an hour. Or the last time I did a 40-minute run in the morning, then I did a 40-minute run around lunchtime, and then we went out and did an hour and 10 minutes on the track. And we did the Tim Don special workout, which is a favorite of ours, which is a set of 200s on it's sort of a rolling rest. I mean, it's not sprint 200s, but you're going pretty fast.
We just call it the Tim Don because we had nothing else to call it, right? We don't really know if he actually does it.
Yeah, I guess we've heard like rumors that he might have done it once or something.
It's kind of our tribute to him.
Yeah. So Tim Don's got some wheels, so if I could even.
He's got some terrible facial hair too.
Yeah, but if I could run a mile, at Tim Don speed, that would be okay. So.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay, well, what's your workout today, and then we'll wrap it up.
So today I am going to do the inverse of sort of the last week. Today is my long ride day, so I'm going to go out and time trial bike in the morning for 4 hours, and then I'm going to refuel and hopefully have a short nap, and then I'll take the road bike out and we're going to do some hill climbs.
There you go. This has been 10 Minutes with
Jordan Rapp, member of the adopted member, I guess, of the Canadian Triathlon Center.
There you go. Back to the white. Oh.